Lesson 27, I will represent and solve division problems with up to a 3-digit dividend. All right, so today we're going to be talking about dividing numbers that have 3 digits in them. This is the first time that we've divided numbers with hundreds. You did this in the Zern lesson. In the first couple of lessons, or the first couple of problems, you'll notice it just says divide, use place value disk to model each problem. So we're not using standard algorithm, we're only using place value disk. So the first thing you're going to do is draw yourself a place value chart. So I'm going to go ahead, and you don't have to draw the big square as long as you just divide it into columns. So I'm going to have my hundreds here, and I'm going to have my tens here and my ones. It's really important that you're very neat when you do this. So let's go ahead and model 300, 2 tens, and 4 ones. Now we're dividing by 2, so I'm going to go ahead and divide this into 2 parts. And then it's really important that you count and make sure that you only have 2 groups. So I have 1, 2. So let's go ahead and divide the hundreds. So I have 100 here and 100 here. So here's the new part. So just like whenever we had a remainder in the tens, what do we do with this remainder in the hundreds? We have to unbundle it and move it to the tens, right? So how many tens are in this 100? 10, right? So let's add 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So now we're ready to divide these tens. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to do 2 at a time. So I've got 2 here. Got to be really careful so you can tell what you've marked out and what you haven't. 2 here. Let's do 2 more. You're probably like me and you're probably already thinking ahead, well, I know that's 12, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to end up with 6 in each group. And then 2 more. All right, so they're equal, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now let's do the ones. We had no tens left over. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. So I have 2 left over. So what is 324 divided by 2? Well, let's see how much we have in each group. Well, I have 100. 6 tens, and 2 ones. So 324 divided by 2 is 162. I want you to do B all by yourself. Go ahead and draw your place value chart, and then let's come back and check together. Remember, we're only doing the place value disk. You do not have to do the standard algorithm yet. Okay, so let's check your work. The first thing I did is I modeled 3 hundreds, 4 tens, and 4 ones. It's hard to tell that now, but I did. So the first thing I did is I divided my 3 hundredths and I put 1 in each group, and I had a remainder of 100. So I unbundled that 100 into 10 tens. So that gave me 14 tens. When I took 14 tens and divided it by 2, that gave me 7 tens. And then I divided my 4 ones, which gave me 2 tens in each group. So 344 divided by 2 is 100, 7 tens, and 2 ones. 172. All right, so now we're going to do this one more time. I'd like for you to go ahead and do C by yourself, and let's come back and see if you got this one correct also. Okay, so let's see how you did. So first of all, you had to model your 483 ones, and you'll notice I didn't mark all these out this time because I wanted you to kind of be able to see. So here's my original 400. Here's my original 8 tens. Don't pay attention to this because this is where I had to unbundle. And then I had my 3 ones. So first I divided my hundreds. So 4 hundreds divided by 3 was 100 with a remainder of 1. So I unbundled that 100 and made it 10 tens. So then I had 18 tens. And 18 tens divided by 3 is 6 tens. And I had no tens left over. And then I took my 3 ones and divided them by 3, and I had 1 in each group. So what is 483 divided by 3? It is 100, 6 tens, and 1 1. 161. All right, so we're going to do this one more time. Let's see how you do. Okay, so let's see how you did. Hopefully you were really neat with your place value disk, because in this problem it became very important that you did, or it was going to be very easy to get the wrong answer. So the first thing I want to do is I want to show you where I modeled 5 hundreds, 4 tens, and here's my 9 ones. Now you'll have to ignore these tens right here below because that's where I had to unbundle. So when I went to divide my hundreds, I had 100 in each group. I'm going to move this down just a little bit so you can see. But I had 2 hundreds left over. So when I unbundled those hundreds, I had to add 20 tens. So then I ended up with 24 tens. That when divided by 3 gave me 8 tens in each group, and then I had 9 ones, and 9 ones divided by 3 gave me 3 ones in each group. So when I ended up dividing this all together, I had that 549 divided by 3 was 100, 8 tens, and 3 ones. So you can kind of see in this problem why whenever you start to get to some bigger numbers, using place value discs starts to become a little impractical because number one, it takes a long time, and number two, it's really easy to make a silly mistake if you don't make your place value disc really nice and neat. So that's why we are transitioning from this to the standard algorithm. But understanding what's happening in this place value chart will help you to understand how to use the standard algorithm because the same thing is happening only without the model. All right, so that's why in these next few problems we're going to do both. I want you to do this one with me, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and do the disc right here. We're going to go back and forth from each one. So that's why it's important for you to do this first one with me. So I have hundreds, tens, and ones. And then over here I'm going to go ahead and set up my long division. So I've got 5, and I'm dividing 655. So let's go ahead and put 600s, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 5 tens and 5 ones. Now I'm dividing this into 5 groups. One, two, three, four. One more group. Yeah. All right, so let's start by dividing our hundreds. So I'm going to put 100 in each group. 1, 1, 1. So I ended up with a remainder of 1. So let's see how that looks over here in the standard algorithm. So I had 600s divided by 5. So how much was in each group? 1. Well, I used 1 times 5. I used 5 ones. So that leaves me with a remainder of 1. Now I'm going to unbundle this 100 and add it to the tens place. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So how many tens do I have now? I have 5, 10, 15. So over here I'm going to bring down this 5 in the tens to put with this 100. So now I've got 15. Just like over here I've got 15. So these are kind of already divided. You can kind of see already 15 divided by 5. I can already see that I'm going to have 3 in each group. Because I can just go right straight down this row and see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I had none left over. So I took 15 tens, divided it by 5, and how many were in each group? 3, right? I used all 15 because 3 times 5 is 15. So when I subtract here, I have 0 because I had none left over. So now I'm going to divide the 1. So I'm going to bring down the 5 ones to show that I'm dividing that. So if I divide this 5 ones by 5, I'm going to have 1 1 in each group. So the same thing in my standard algorithm. 5 ones divided by 5 was 1. 1 times 5 is 5. I end up with 0 because I had no remainder. Okay, let's try that again. All right, so again, we're going to take 726 divided by 3 with disc. So let's go ahead and model hundreds, tens, ones, and then over here we're going to do standard algorithm. 726 divided by 3. So let's go ahead and put our 700s, 2 tens, 6 ones. And we're putting this into 3 groups. Okay, so let's begin by dividing the hundreds. So I'm going to go ahead and put 2 in each group because I am already thinking ahead that 6 divided by 3 is 2. So I'm pretty sure that I'm going to have 2 with a remainder of 1. So let's talk about how you can see that you have 100 left over when you do standard algorithm. I took 700s and I divided it by 3. How many were in each group? 2. And then I used 6. I did 2 3 times. So 2 times 3 is 6. And I'm left with 100. So I have to take my 100 and unbundle it. So I'm going to make it 10 tens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So now I have 10, 11, 12 tens. So I'm going to bring down this 2 from the tens to show that I have 12 tens. Now let's divide the 12 tens. Now I'm thinking ahead. 12 divided by 3 is 4. So I'm going to go ahead and put 4 in each group. And I didn't have any left over. So let's go over here. I had 12 tens. I divide them by 3. How many were in each group over here? 4. So I put a 4 in the quotient. I had 3 groups of 4. So that left no tens. So now I'm ready to divide 6 ones. So I'm going to bring down the ones. So I'm ready to divide those. So now I've got 6 ones. Now I know 6 divided by 3 is 2. So I'm going to go ahead and do these 2 at a time. And let's show that in standard algorithm. 6 divided by 3 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. I have a remainder of 0. So don't be discouraged if this isn't making sense to you yet. It's really important that you follow along and try to make the connections between what's happening here and what's happening here. When you can make the connection between the two, this is going to become so much easier for you. All right, let's try another one. So we have 688 divided by 4. So let's go ahead and do hundreds, tens, and ones. And then over here we're going to have 688 divided by 4. Now if you're feeling brave and you want to pause the video and do it by yourself, go ahead. But I'm going to talk you through this one if you want to do it with me. All right, so let's do 600s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Tens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I have to have 4 groups here. Divide it in half first. And then divide each half in half. All right, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4 groups. All right, so let's take 6 and divide this by 4. All right, so I'm going to have 2 tens left over. So this happens sometimes because I can already see I don't have enough room to put all these in here. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to come back and erase this line. You may have to do this too. And make this line lower so that I have room for all those tens. I'm just going to come down and do this. Because when I unbundle, I'm going to have a bunch of tens. Because I've got 200s here. All right, so let's talk about what happened in standard algorithm. I had 600s, I divided it by 4. So how many was in each group? 1. And 1 times 4 is 4, so this is the 2. This shows that I had 2 tens left over. Now I'm going to unbundle these 2 tens, and that's going to be 20 or 200, so it's going to leave 20 tens. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you can see this is why this strategy starts to become a little bit impractical, because look at all these tens. Now I just added 20 and I already had 8, so that's 28. So I have to bring down the 8. And now I know that 28 divided by 4 is 7. So I'm just going to go ahead and put 7 in each of these boxes. You have to be careful because, again, we're getting to be some big numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 times 4 is 28. So that means I'm going to have a remainder of 0. All right, now I'm ready to divide my 1s. So I'm going to bring down the 8 ones to show that I'm dividing those. Now 8 divided by 4 is going to be 2. So I'm going to have 2 in each group. And that'll be all of them. I have none left over. 8 divided by 4 is 2. 2 times 4 is 8. That gives me a remainder of 0. So in this lesson, we worked really hard to understand how this place value disk correlates with the standard algorithm. If you're still having a little bit of trouble, don't be discouraged. It takes some people several tries. We're going to continue to practice until you become fluent in long division.